All right. Good morning. Welcome. For anyone new, first of all, thanks for watching. My name is Tim. I go by FoamyGuy on GitHub and Discord. And I stream at this time each week around 10 a.m. Central Time, working on some stuff related to CircuitPython. If you don't know what CircuitPython is, you can learn more about it at the main website, circuitpython.org. It is basically a version of Python that runs on tiny computers called microcontrollers. You plug it into your thumb drive, it shows up like you plug it into your computer and it shows up like a thumb drive. You can then edit a Python code file that's on that thumb drive, and when you save it, the microcontroller will actually read and interpret and execute that Python code for you if you choose to use CircuitPython. There are lots of other ways that you can program these microcontroller devices, but CircuitPython is one of them, and it is the one that I work on this stream most typically. CircuitPython is an open source project. Anyone's allowed to use it. Anyone is allowed to add support for it to their own hardware. You don't have to pay like a license fee or anything like that in order to add support for your own hardware or use it in your own projects or products or anything else. And the way that works is Adafruit, who is a hardware and software company based out of New York, they make CircuitPython possible by paying the team of folks who work on the project. It's all open source code published under free and open source licenses, but Adafruit pays myself and the rest of the team who work on the project regularly. So huge thanks to them as always. And if you want to help support CircuitPython, one of the easiest ways to do it is purchase hardware from them at their website, adafruit.com. I am jumping right back in this morning to the Fruit Jam stuff we were working on last night. In particular, I am getting back to this match 3 game, and I'm going to see if I can't figure out what's up with the resume button and get it so that this is launching correctly. Once we get that fixed, we'll, I think, go back to refactoring some of these apps to use the mouse library. Although I won't start with the match 3 one for that because it's got 2 mice, which makes it a bit more complex. I am going to unplug, so I have the keyboard plugged in right now. What is up? Johnny? Is that Johnny? Let me see. My thing is here. Yeah, there we go. What is up, Johnny? Nice to see you, my friend. Let's do this. Mouse is right there. 2 mice now. Oh, interesting. As soon as I plugged that mouse in, it became the one that is live on the screen. Interesting. I didn't know it had like hot plug type stuff like that. Okay, so I think that we want to, well, let's just launch it and see what happens. So I think it should not be showing us resume, I don't think. We could validate, so I don't have the SD card plugged in, and we could actually validate that it shouldn't be showing us Zoom by checking out also import os.lister saves. I'll be actually doing some CircuitPython coding today. Nice. Found some duplicated translations when I did the last Swedish translation. I gotcha. Cool. Yeah, thanks for working on the translations some more. Cool. Okay, so let's check out saves. Yeah, there's only, those are unrelated to match 3. Those are like test files or something. So match 3 is going to be looking for its own save file. And basically what happens is, all right, so for one thing is we should be using the variable everywhere here. So we are kind of have this variable and then, oh, I see part of what's happened here is this still says set actually. That's not good. Is it like this in the, I mean, it must be, right? Actually really not update this in the repo? I just somehow have an old version. No, it's all right, let's fix that while we're here. So autosave, we should be using this variable everywhere, which is also going to fix the problem that this has the wrong name. Say if the save file is in a, exists, if that file exists in the SD card, Then we're going to read it. We will use this. Read it, and then it uses message pack, so it will unpack the data from the save game. Actually thought it used JSON. I misremembered that part too. And then it does print the game state, and then here it does also if. All right, so yeah, luckily past him left us this comment, which makes total sense. So if placeholder does not exist in the SD card, if there's no file called placeholder.txt, but we don't get an OS error by running this, that means there is an SD card connected, an actual SD card, and it doesn't have a file by this name, which tells us kind of that it's a real one that's plugged in, because it will have this file if it's not actually there. And then we're just saying that this is where we want to save to thing for this. Ones. Okay. So that is fixed, but that is also not, was not our specific problem. What is up, C. Grover? Nice to see you today, my friend. I think we should next look at, so the way this logic is all set is game state starts as none. We check inside of saves for the autosave file. We load it if it's there. If it is not there, then game state will still be none. So in that case, we go and check on the SD card. There's some SD cards set up and some stuff. We check on the SD card. If it is there, we load it. If it is not, but if there is an SD card but no file, then we set our save to. If there's no SD card, then I guess save to is gonna still be set to saves, as long as saves exists. Otherwise, this will OS error. And then game state gets passed into here, and so that will be none if it failed to load. So the first thing I think we should do is let's just print this, because we should see that it's none. Well, let's not do it here though. Let's do it right after we try to load. Because this should be none. And, oh, I'm editing the wrong file. I could have kept this. Let me edit it still. What else did I change? Oh, right, I already did all of this. Okay, let's take all that code then, actually. Except they got rid of the print. And go back to the desktop launcher. It finds one of the mice. Match 3. There might have been already. Okay, so yeah, game state none. Yeah, but resume still shows. Okay, so what we really want to do is inside of the match 3 game helpers. Also, we want to say for the start screen, the title screen, well, so one problem we have is this is in its own class. So we need to see, where does this get created? There's title screen, okay. And we are inside of a init, so we can right here just say something like, if game state is none, then we would like to go, really would like to hide the resume button. Okay, self.resume button. So we should be able to say title screen.resume button. Self.title screen.resume button.hidden equals true. And then we can restart this. Control C, Control D. That will go to the launcher. Game state none. There we go. Okay, now we have no resume button. It's good. Okay. And let's see if we get, well, okay, first of all, do both mice work? No, only one mouse works. Oh, okay. Actually, I unplugged the mouse, not the keyboard, so that's why this mouse doesn't work. Restart this again. This time, actually, it's that mouse. I still only have one mouse. Okay, I think the problem with that is most likely the like the reading of the mouse needs to be a longer timeout, probably. Yeah, right here, this is using 10, and it needs to be 20 for this other mouse, basically. I wrote this, and I was testing on some mice, and then I got the wired one in from the shop, and it likes 20 a lot better. Try that. It's low speed, I think. I don't know if that directly translates to a needing the longer timeout there, or if it just also needs a longer timeout. All right, there we go. Okay, but we do. Didn't I start to fix this yesterday? This feels very deja vu. That part especially feels very deja vu. I swear we started to fix that last night. I not actually make it through there. So one thing is the buffer sizes. I don't want to actually go through and fix too much mouse stuff though, because a lot of that's going to get resolved by using the mouse library. So it feels kind of bad, but I'm just going to leave that alone and click new game and see game starts and everything. Okay. Make sure we can click stuff. Cannot click stuff. Oh, we need to call in first, right? Forgot how to play the game. There we go. Okay, that's working. This one's going to be hard to click stuff, but I can at least click this row. And it will tell me those are not a match, but it does appear to be working at least. The movement's messed up, but I know what's wrong with it, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. A lot of this stuff is going to change. Okay, but the resume is now hiding itself correctly, and whatever else. Did we fix anything else? I don't think so. Okay. I will go ahead. We can do the mouse thing on memory first, I think. Let's do that. So let's go back down to just one mouse, because memory is only made for one mouse. And I mean, the second one shouldn't mess it up, I don't think. I suppose we could test it, but We're gonna be getting rid of those two. We can kind of go to where the code's broken now. All this stuff, okay. I'm gonna grab the example code from the new host mouse. Most recent one is passing in back. Last time this file got changed, it failed. Mouse, import netboot. That will find it, and then we won't need this loop or any of this stuff. Won't need any of this. This will now just say if mouse is not none. Actually, we could just keep this because the memory game requires a mouse. So if you don't have a mouse, then this is going to raise an exception. Well, okay, but at exit could get called on an exception. I don't know the order of how all of this works. So let's just keep that to be safe. So if that's not none, we just need to say mouse.release. Then that gets registered. We don't need a buffer. That's internal. And then for reading like this, we can say, we don't really need any of this anymore. We can just say mouse.update. Probably we should maybe pass a timeout to this as a keyword argument, so you could at least set it to something else if you wanted. I think internally it's set to 20, which happens to work for this wired mouse as well as all the other mice that I've tested, but yeah, we don't need any of this because the tile grid is all internal. In fact, probably we're still setting, yeah, we don't need this either. All of this. Tile grid as well. One thing we do though need is after we found this, we need to go and say main group dot append the mouse dot tile grid. Tile grid. Go. Then that will be internal, so we don't need any of this. We don't need to catch this because it's caught internally now. And just mouse.update. We will want pressed buttons equals. Okay, and then, so this is saying if the current state is title, okay, actually that's convenient. The comment says left, so we can just say if left is in pressed buttons. I'm not sure if this is really the best API, but ooh, that gets tricky. Okay, this is something we haven't done before with the mouse library. So it's wanting to change the color. Oh, but that's easy enough. We can just go mouse.tilegrid.pixelshader and then do whatever we want with it. That's fine. Ooh. No, it's not because it's not going to have enough colors. Okay, I think what we do is we just also set the pixel shader here. Should somewhere we would have had a mouse palette, I guess. Did I delete it already? Does this one just have it must have a special bitmap. Yeah, I don't like that. I guess I just edited the bitmap to have an extra color in its palette. Yeah, no. Oh, okay, we don't need an additional color. We don't need an additional slot in the palette, actually, though. We're just changing, yeah, my bad. We're just changing the white to a different color. Okay. But yeah, we don't need to do anything fancy with the... We don't need to do anything fancy with the palette. We can just say mouse.tilegrid pixel shader 2, so that's going to update the color that's at index 2, which we just saw was white. That's going to update it to the current color from here. Okay, that should be fine. What do we have for the next click? So left button was pressed again, so we can go if left is in the pressed buttons. This is getting... So we can get these by just mouse. Mouse. This is another left button, so if left is in pressed buttons, this is getting the coordinates again. We can just say mouse, mouse. Okay. Good USB error. So I think that will also go away by using the library. So that's another thing I've noticed with this mouse is that it can sometimes raise this error when you, there's actually 2 times it can do it when you are trying to scan and it's trying to like check if it's a boot mouse or not. But it can also do it when it is reading just during normal operation. But the latest version of the mouse library catches that. Oh, we have a game state now. Oh, because I started playing. Maybe I was wrong. Although that was in the host descriptors. Oh, okay, I think we need to do that in find boot mouse actually as well. But I think the latest version of the library does it during the normal read. It needs to probably do it during the find. It all messed up though, actually. So kind of the crux of it is like, don't move the mouse while it is scanning. Otherwise it can get messed up. We should try to fix that though. Because really what happened is I was moving the mouse, and I suspect what is actually happening is the mouse is then sending movement data, but the CircuitPython code is expecting descriptor data. Or vice versa, or whatever. Like something, those two are getting wires crossed, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's rough because really, like, what we really want to do is just keep trying, ideally. Okay, what if we do this? Descriptor is none. This is gonna make it go infinite. What if we try like a limited number of times? Retry count of 5, let's say, just so we don't go infinite. While config descriptor is none and attempt is less than or equal to retry count. Attempt 0, attempt plus equals 1, and then we do this. And we want to try this and accept a USB error. .core.usb error. We just pass so that we go around and try again. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if we can validate that that works. I think I am printing the game state twice now. That's fine. I'm going to kind of move the mouse while it's doing its thing here. Oh, yeah, I was starting the wrong one, first of all. We should be starting memory. Check here. Untype is not iterable, 320. Right, it needs to also check if it's none. It's not none. Maybe we should make that return an empty list. I guess that's part of why I don't necessarily care for that API too much, but this would make it a bit better. Or an empty list. We get no data, we'll have empty list. It'll say, you know, here's all the buttons that are pressed, but there's no buttons in the list because no buttons were pressed. Seems fair. Like none also seems fairly fair. Fairly fair. Quite the concept. Still crashed again though. Didn't change. Oh. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Just always return pressed buttons because it starts as an empty list, so it'll be an empty list at the end if there's none pressed. I'm going to try to remember to also move the mouse while it's initializing here. Okay. Don't know if we actually did. Guess we could have added a print statement for the retry to see if that was actually making use of the new code. Play through this a little bit. Adabot, Minerva, red chip, red. Yeah, Adabot. Oh, it locked. So I have seen it do this occasionally. You know, this is different actually because the whole thing is locked. I've not seen it do this. Because even Control C right here is not doing anything. That is a new one. So let's play a little bit more memory game and see if we can recreate that again. In fact, we may not be able to. I have seen it where I think that there is something in the memory game where it can get in a state that it's not expecting and it stops working. But I have never been able to like do it on command. I've just like seen it once or twice happen. And racked my brain trying to be like, how did that happen? And looked at the code and stared at the code and came up with no ideas. So blue, red, Minerva, Blinka, green, Adabot, blue, red, Minerva, Blinka, green, Adabot. So there's blue, got red, Minerva, Blinka, Adabot. There was, no, we haven't had a chip yet. Minerva, we have blue, we already did. There's chip. Yeah, see, I don't, we're gonna get it again. Green, we, blue, red, did we have green? PR sent, nice. We did have green. Oh. Now we might be in that other thing I was thinking where basically the game is running, but it's like stuck not letting me flip the second card. And unfortunately, there's not a way to recover, really. Must be tracking the flipped cards wrong, or maybe it has to do with clicking too soon. Maybe if you like click immediately right when your turn begins, it's not done clearing out the flipped cards. How can it be not done though? Like everything is serial. There's no like async. Get a blink already? Did up. But 3 Adabots in a row. There's a blink. Another ohm. Ohm should be in one of these last few. Adabot we saw back here. Red. The red. $250. And I'm gonna mess it up again, right? Yep. Tie game. Oh. Still got that error. Oh. Oh, hold on. This doesn't get used. Yeah. Used. I think maybe in an old one, this got passed into here, but now the device does. We don't actually need this config descriptor at all. Pretty sure. Because that's going to be happening inside of here. Um, all right, we'll put that to none. Use that instead. This goes in here. That stuff goes in there. And okay, so as soon as that's filled in, we'll break out of this while loop, or if attempts gets to 5 or 6, we'll break out. And then this needs to happen after the while loop. In the for loop, I guess. It's already after the for loop. I guess we'll just leave it there. Okay. And then we do still need to wrap this with except core, no, usb.core.use error. Just or I think continue. Wait, is continue going to go to the next for loop or the next while loop? I mean, we could just pass because these are going to be none. And this is checking them for none. Skip the whole which one is you gonna go to actually. Okay. So basically this should guard against it crashing if you're moving the mouse while it's trying to scan and like find the mouse. So I'm moving it. Okay, we made it to having it. I don't really want to play through a full game. Maybe we could print. See if we manage to get past the first attempt. That way we'll know it's working. Could do it in the. Oh, nope. Did attempt 1. The attempt 1 there as well. I mean, it did it right away at the end of the game. Is there any? Oh, it's crashed again though. Okay, so that's a problem, I think. It's just getting like straight hard locked. But none of the other code has done that yet. Anything weird in the memory game code? Let's have mouse.update. Trying to mess with the mouse at all anywhere else? Nope, just change the color again. That's fine. After a click. See anything else that looks problematic? It's weird that I haven't managed to get past attempt 1. The other day I was like pretty sure that it was correlated pretty directly if you were moving the mouse around during the find. It was breaking. That does not seem to be happening now that we have that code. Oh, we're in this state again. Gotta figure this out. I don't know what's going on here. Something where we're like getting locked out by the cooldown? So I think like ultimately it kind of like has a card that it thinks is flipped that's not actually. Or at least is not visually. Could do this better. I don't think it's the cause of the problem. We don't necessarily need to loop here. We could call grid.which cell contains. I think does math internally instead of looping. And then once we have the cell that contains it, we could check if the card contains the click also. Okay, I think that's like if the card's face down and if the card was clicked. Flip the card face up. But it doesn't make any sense, right? Because we flip it up and then we add it to the list. And then we check if there's two. And there's only one card visible right now, but it's not letting me click. So, but the mouse is pink. And the current player is pink. But we also know that this doesn't trip. Is there maybe a problem? Should this be elif? Is there maybe a problem where this happens and then on the same frame this happens and that breaks something? This kind of bug is tough too because it's like I have yet to understand what actually triggers it. Oh, I forgot to use it. Or I mean move it around. Oh, hey, okay, there we go. So now, well, but we found the mouse and then when we started to read it, we were getting USB errors and the library will just keep retrying. And then like eventually it starts working. Well, it did. And now the thing has crashed again. I do have a weird build of USB stuff right now. No. Go away, please. All due respect. My build on the device right now is with like a PR version of Pico Pio USB, and I think a specific version of Tiny USB or something. I've not been paying close enough attention. I'm pretty sure we saw a chip before though. Saw a green too. That was total luck though. I'm pretty sure we saw a blue as well. Oh, we saw two greens. Okay, we're stuck again. That didn't help. I mean, it's got to be tied to the... I feel like it must be tied to the mouse somehow. This problem? No. There was a thing where when the buffer was the wrong size, you kind of had to click and drag, but that's not happening right now. It's like we're just not getting a left click. Are we really just not getting? It must be like a timing... Okay. Yeah, this is getting tough. So now this is frozen again. I'm gonna undo this because it obviously didn't help. The print was not actually all that useful because I have to see when it actually happens. Well, I'm not gonna be able to save right now because actually, can I save right now? Now I'm gonna lock up my IDE also. Nice, okay. Cool. Thought I tested that. Expanding that without meaning to, really. Thinking it's OBS. So got ohm chip. Got ohm chip. Oh, now we're even in an exciting and new messed up state. That's excellent. Okay. So is that a clue we can use? Somehow we can also get in this state when two cards are flipped up. But I still don't know, like, I did not do anything different, I don't think. I don't understand where the cause is. And I will say, well, but I'm on such a different version now. Not tested this version that much. I was gonna say did not have this problem as much with the other mouse, but I also changed versions of CircuitPython, which in my case includes all the USB guts, so it's kind of like it's not apples to apples. So I mean, could there be a situation where waiting to reset? Okay, so hold on. If waiting to reset was the only place that gets set back to false here. It gets set to true once you have flipped over the second card. Oh no. I know what the problem is, I think. Yeah, I got wrecked by this with a different thing too. I need to, yeah. Don't use this ever. That's my new rule. It's a bad rule. It's not the correct rule to learn, but it is the rule that I've learned. That was in milliseconds. So what is happening is ticks MS, this like rolls over or something after the device has been booted up for a minute, a certain amount of time, I don't know how long. But after some time, this ticks thing rolls over, and then because I'm just storing the number and comparing it with my if statement, and I'm not using TixDiff, the function that's from that library, when it rolls over, it wrecks my logic, and it will eventually be true again, but not for like a day or something. We could probably just use seconds instead of milliseconds, but and so then basically I theorize when the game gets stuck, it's because no. Well, it doesn't matter what I theorize because it's already wrong. Or did I mess up the time somewhere? Maybe I messed up the time somewhere. I messed up the time somewhere, hopefully. So we're setting this to monotonic. Oh, it should not be divided by, though. Should it? Hello, my friend over on YouTube. Renash? Sorry if I mispronounced your name. No, it should be divided by, because we have seconds and we want to get to milliseconds. No. It should be times. Maybe we should just use seconds. Let's try to just use seconds. So now is the time in seconds. Don't do anything with time in there. We check now, so that should be fine. Then wait until, let's just say, current time. And then the only difference is we won't do 1500, we will just do 1.5 because it is seconds. We had no endpoint for a minute, but we recovered. Okay, whew. So that was red and Adabot, I think. Green and chip. Blinka and chip. No. Okay, but that's locked up. So I can't do anything about this locked up. That's like mega hard crash. CircuitPython is gone. I feel like that is over my head at this point, and I'm not going to bother trying to troubleshoot it directly right now with this setup. But really what I want to try to see is if I have solved the other issue, which is when the thing is not frozen, CircuitPython is still running, everything is still happy, except the memory game logic is messed up. It's not letting you click to flip cards, but the mouse still works. It's like moving, it's just stuck not clicking. That's what I'm trying to see if we fixed. The lockup is unfortunate, but I don't think... I mean, it is weird that it keeps happening with the memory game, I guess. And I haven't seen it with other stuff that I can recall. A lot of pairs that were close by. There's the lockup again. Oh. Yeah, I need to try... I think there's a different branch I need to try, basically, of Python core. Or if it's not in a branch of the core yet, then I think it could be that I need to check it out from any USB, GoPO, one of the two. Got Adabot chip, red chip. Got Adabot red, green ohm, Adabot red. So we got red, green ohm, chip, Minerva, red, green ohm, chip, Minerva, red, green ohm, lockup. I can't even finish the game now. All right, let's see what there is. I mean, it's very suspicious. It's happening so frequently in this game. But I'm not using the mouse very much anywhere else. You know what I should do is implement the clicking on the arrows in the launcher, because I don't think that does anything yet. And then once that does something, I can just go in the launcher and click back and forth the arrows a bunch of times and see if we cause the same lockup or not. But also, I don't think I said, but you probably saw, I'm going to try this version of the core as well and see if that does any better. I don't know that I'm not sure if it got merged, though, is the thing. I'm not sure this is going to have the new stuff that I'm imagining, so we'll see how it goes. It's another data point at least. Well, not. This? No, but error. Okay. And the different trail. Going on with pathlib. 40. So we say os.stat path 0, we catch the OS error. We do that. Otherwise we raise. Error 5. Not 2. Mode if exists. So I'm guessing that in this version of CircuitPython, os.stat is returning or raising a different thing than it was in the one we were just using a second ago. And we are saying for path in for path in app path editor, print the path. Oh, okay, Larzio. If not, code file exists, then continue. What's wrong with Larzio? Oh, Larzio's gone. Oh boy. Okay, something bad is happening. Something very bad is happening because I have one thing plugged in. This is seeing Larzio paint music and this is not. I guess we're corrupt. Because my PC cannot see that file. So, well, which is like problematic in two ways. One, I pasted that file on there yesterday, so I know that it was there. And I know that it was working because I scrolled over in the launcher and I saw the icon. And I haven't deleted it since then, so it should still be there. But also CircuitPython is seeing it. It must, because it got its name from somewhere. Maybe it just got corrupt the last time it crashed. Yeah, see, look at that. os.lister apps lists that, even though it's like not there to the computer. I don't think, can you remove a directory? Hold on. Copy it. Um, I think we just wipe. I think we just format. Like, theoretically, I could try to delete that and see if it won't find it anymore. But the fact that it's seeing it, even though my PC can't, tells me that the storage is not in a good state, I don't think. Kind of a shame to wipe it again. Keep 2 backups just in case, because I want to be able to get my stuff back. Oh, but that means that, like, all my apps are gone. I can put these back, but these don't contain any of the stuff that I have done most recently. Like all the stuff I was working. Didn't do anything. Is that not? I don't know. We are rapidly deteriorating into more and more problems that don't make any sense. Maybe only PyCharm is messed up? This is empty. I just had the old one open. Okay, but seriously? Why can I not copy files from here? Copy, 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 copy. Copy the files, please. Copy. Paste the files into here. Just paste them. Okay, what was all of that about? Why did it just do nothing the first times I tried that? That's crazy. Okay. We will also, well, let's just let it finish. Ahead of ourselves. Okay, apps are there. I will need lib. Okay, very good. Got the paste on the first try. Moving in the right direction. I don't know what was going on with that. That was, I guess, like a PyCharm problem, because it seemed like neither copy or paste was doing anything. I didn't try pasting somewhere else. And then we will want, yeah, all 3 of these: boot, boot animation, and code, except for that's going to be old. Really, we want to go back and get the code from the device. Really hope there's not somehow where, like, corruptness of the drive somehow infected files, because we did already change this to use mouse library, and I was in the process of changing memory game. Scares me to go copy from this one that I know is corrupt. I'm hoping that don't mess it up. Um, Slight detour. We should make build include that. So the reason why that happened is because CircuitPy, the launcher, the desktop launcher, uses anchored tile grid. We're probably going to have the same problem with anchored group as well, honestly. But none of the apps do. And right now, the build script is getting all the dependencies from all of the apps. And the built-in apps is what I added most recently. But it is not getting dependencies for CircuitPy. And we need to. Realistically, we should do the boot animation also. I presume this... TLV we'll want to make sure. An image load. Alright, I gotta run to the restroom as well, so I will be right back. Okay. Luckily, when I did the built-in apps, I got Circup all working together with this, so this should be super easy. One thing still though is, so that says path tempter install autofile is apps. Okay, so we don't have to do it from... Yeah, because we can pass autofile, we can actually do that from a totally different directory, which feels awkward, but is fine, I think. So this is basically just like calling circup. So we're saying circup path, in our case, is tempter because we just have a directory that we're building up libs into. What is up, Abadus, my friend? Nice to see you today. So we have path tempter install. We will say auto because we want to scan the file and get all the libraries from it. How's the friendliest dev on Twitch doing today? I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, thanks. I hope you're doing well also. We will say auto file. And then it will not be font name. That's just making up some nonsense. It is going to be source CircuitPy. And then we will do the same thing for source boot animation, and we should technically also do bootpy. The only library bootpy uses is argv file, which CodePy also uses. So like kind of technically it's unnecessary, but I think I'm gonna add it just in case we ever do modify BootPy further to use any other libraries that might not be used by another one. And it'll just notice that they're already installed this way. So it won't do anything extra, I don't think. Okay, let's run build and then make sure that we get anchored tile grid and anchored group this time. Oh, I don't know. I don't see them listed. I'm not convinced that worked because this says finding imports for apps editor code. Searching dependencies ready to install, installed, blah, 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 blah. Oh. I see. Okay, this failed. Why though? Source CodePy is right there. You know what? I think it's looking on the device. I think it's looking on the device. So it does actually, I was saying earlier it doesn't need to be on the device, which is weird. And I think that was actually just wrong. It does need to be on the device. Or at least it needs to be relative to the device root, which is like... I guess we could go up some. Where does CodePy get copied? Must be doing source. Source. Okay, so that will already be on the device. So we should be able to just say CodePy, BootPy, boot animation, and just not do source, and I think that would work. Okay, there we go. Then we'll just unzip it and see if we got anchored tile grid and anchored group. No. Hmm? Hmm. Did it crash again? These don't generate... Maybe these don't generate new? I don't know. Those, I don't think it actually rebuilt. Okay, yeah, something's messed up because actually just empty. I know what the problem is. We need to add this thing. Otherwise, when this finishes, it just like exits the program that you're in. So yeah, the builds didn't work because it basically just exited after it got all the libraries ready before it actually zipped anything, which is why we didn't see most of this stuff get printed either. Oh man, that's running circup for every language. Arguably, we should maybe maybe we should fetch stuff once and then. Because the only thing that changes for the different languages is like the font file, I think, right? Are we downloading from Learn for every language? No. Yeah, it's probably would be good to go through and oh, actually, where does this? Okay, that gets called there. Probably would be good to have this cache everything that's not related to fonts before we get to here. And then inside of here, use the cached ones so that we're not running circup install over and over and over and over, like one, well, at this point, 4 times, because I added 3 more calls to it, but 4 times for every language. We're just doing it once, and then we're using the results for all the languages because they don't differ. But it did succeed right now. So good enough. So let's open this. These were generated right now, 11:23, 2 minutes ago. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now we have those finally. I am just going to grab them and put them on the device so that we can go one step further here. Yep, we need fonts also. That gets generated as part of this. So let's copy. We're going to need this and this too. So let's copy those. Yeah, so the idea is you would copy all of this stuff to your device, which I guess I could have done. But at this point, I also did copy from the old device back a few files, so I don't want to overwrite them again. But the idea with these builds is you'll download these builds, and then it has everything in it. You'll just unzip it and copy it to your device. CircuitPy 299 can't set attribute X. So I think actually I know what the problem with that is. Most likely that is, yeah, mouse.x. That I think is actually because yesterday I updated the mouse library but didn't make a release, which means that circup didn't get the new version. Oops. Okay. Unfortunately, that means we have no way to get the latest version with circup because circup always grabs it out of the bundles, and the bundles do not get updated until overnight, and they take all the things that are released. So now that I just released that today, overnight tonight, the bundle will get updated with the new version, and then circup would be able to get the new version. For now, we will just copy the code from the device where I had MPY. Root USB host mouse. Okay, we're back to sorta where we were. All the icons are messed up. Mouse works. Not for the arrows though. Okay, that reloaded because of... Ooh. Well, I was gonna say that reloaded because of supervisor runtime. Or I mean because of auto reload, like a file saving, but that's off. That have reset. Some magic, like click on this thing that does nothing and then it resets. Maybe did I click on memory game and then it launched and failed? No, because we did not see all of that. Fail. I think I have the updated code. Yeah, the storage getting wrecked in the middle kind of a little bit. We got code. Oh, okay. We finally burned through the attempts. Interesting. In fact, that's going through a bunch of attempts over and over. For why it's doing it multiple times. Weird. Also all the icons are broken. I did notice that, even though I didn't say anything. That is because the icon files are not part of the build repo. I have no mouse anymore. The icon files, I had those on the Fruit Jam before we formatted. But they got deleted when we formatted. I can go copy them back. I have them in most or all. I also have in a branch of the Learn Guide repo that I will eventually PR. I've not done yet. I'm not gonna go. Am I? I mean, I suppose we were trying to test. What was the last thing we were trying to test? I think I was trying to test it not getting completely locked anymore where it won't let you flip cards. The tricky part about testing that though is if it, well, first of all, do I have the version with the change in it? Okay. I do have the latest version. If that was the culprit, I have not been paying close enough attention. There was a chip back here. don't know. I'm sure we have seen other matches, but I think we saw a green. Okay, that was a guess, but that works. Oh wow, look at that. Um, so Blinka somewhere. Another Blinka. Oops, went too far. Excuse me. Green, we saw Adabot over here. If that ticks thing was really the culprit, what makes it kind of tricky to test is there's basically like a time period after boot up when it will effectively roll over. And I suspect the cause of the bug would have been if the game state was in a certain state when that rollover happened. Probably, I guess, what would the state be? Would it be at least one card flipped over? I'm not sure what the exact state that triggers it would be. That it might be if at least one card was flipped when that rollover happened. And because I don't know when the rollover happens, or for sure the proper state, I can't trigger it. But we did make it through a full game, and it did not lock up or did not lock up or get stuck. 76? Assignment. Oh. Okay, so the problem is only one of these gets initialized to none. This can raise the exception, and if this raises the exception, then only one of those is none. And so when we go to compare the other one with none, we get this name error. We need to initialize them both to none. So we would have gotten, we must have gotten the USB error. But we just got attempt 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 a bunch of times a minute ago. So we were going through the same code. So why did that not... Like, again, right there, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1. Maybe it's finding 2 devices? Yeah, it seems to be finding 2 devices, actually. Well, more than 2. Because that one, it's none, none. And then this one, it's got the stuff. Okay. Guess it's finding multiple devices on the same, like... Not devices, like... There's only one physical device plugged in, but... I guess that physical device might present as more than one thing. Like we're juggling changes in a lot of different code at this. So I have memory swapped over to use the new mouse thing. Let's commit. I will want to merge that in once I start working on match 3. What I'm going to do though is new branch from main, mouse lib refactor. So memory game we have new code for. We actually have kind of a lot of changes. We have at exit, we got rid of ticks. Looks like I added a request display size. I don't know why pathlib would be getting used. Why is pathlib? Does that get used? Okay, fair enough. In order to launch ourselves again and set our current working directory correctly. Okay. So memory game, use mouse lib, fix start game, or play again, let's say, fix play again. That's the current working directory pathlib thing. And then request display size. And then also move Adafruit ticks. Okay. Memory game CodePy I think is updated for the mouse thing. Let's try to get clicking on arrows working. Right now, arrows only do anything if you use the keyboard and if you press the enter key, it basically checks if an arrow is selected, and if so, it changes the page, calls display page. So what we want to do is check for clicks on the arrows and then pretty much just have this exact same logic. If mouse pressed buttons, so click, so that's saying clicked cell. If clicked cell is not none, then we do some stuff. Not none. We do stuff. It is none. We don't really need to do else because you can't click on like both the grid and the arrows at the same time, I think. So let's just say if, really what we need is coordinates. Clicked chords equals a tuple of mouse X, mouse Y. We actually need a third one. And then we can say if left tg dot contains clicked chords, then we want to do the left arrow thing, which is this. Elif right tg contains, do the right arrow one. If that works. Nice. And it won't let me go back anymore. We could maybe make it cycle through, but for now it just clamps. It won't let you go past the last page, and it won't let you go before the first page. Oh, I keep doing this. This is killing me. Okay, I'm not doing this again. Undo all of that. I keep doing this. Why have I done this so many times? Okay, never mind. One more time. This is the last time. I have to copy this to the device after this. This is like the fourth time I've done this and then apparently not copied it to the device. So it's got all these changes that I've already fixed, but failing to copy it over. Okay. Save this. Copy the code. Put it back on the device. Make sure that we have the right version now with this stuff. Okay. Ever again will I copy the one that is not fixed. Okay. In FruitJam OS, we have updated BuildPy to install a build script to install Rex for BootPy, boot animation, and code, and I'm just going to call it launcher. And then also in the launcher, we added clicking on the arrow buttons and using the mouse library. In launcher, use mouse lib and handle clicks on page arrows. Tab support. And honestly, I've been naming the branches sometimes just like updates or whatever, because I'm kind of going and continuing to do more stuff over and over. Okay. Let's work on getting the icons back real fast, and then I think I'm going to wrap it up for now. What I'm going to do. It didn't actually work. Apparently it was in the middle of crashing. Maybe the corrupted thing has got my PC. All right, so editor is done already. We don't need that. Hello world is probably not even there. And I am going to bring that one back because that's actually handy for testing the editor. That will just come with its own icon. Match 3 games. We want metadata. We want icon. Paste those. Memory game. Icon metadata. And eventually PyCharm seems to notice the metadata file and use it as like, it thinks it's whatever this little M icon is for. I'm not sure what that represents, but it's kind of like whatever that thing is, it must use a metadata.json. PyCharm's trying to be like, hey, I recognize this, but wrong. Okay. It's fascinating to me that the order is different. I don't know how the order is determined. So the mouse doesn't do anything now. I found the mouse, but it's not working. Mess up the merge? Hmm. That is weird that it keeps going through all those attempts. This time it didn't even find it at all. Last time it did actually find the mouse. I could tell because I saw it hidden away up here in the corner. But it hasn't since then. So I'm just going to do a reset with the button. I suspect there may still be some USB issues on this version. But we have not seen the lockup, I don't think, since I've changed. So maybe this one doesn't have that, which would be nice. Okay, we do have the mouse. Still working, okay. I don't know how it determines the order. I guess It must be to do with the creation time? Like, it's always in the same order when I just restart the thing, or even if I hard reset with the button. I guess it's the same order it was just in. But it is in a different order than it was in before I wiped the storage. And I would have thought, like, my best guess would have been that it was in, like, alphabetical order inside the directory, essentially. I never really thought about it. I guess editor would have been coming before matrix, but matrix has metro. I mean, I never really thought about it, so I guess alphabetical order doesn't make sense anyway. I'm not sure what the actual order is. At some point, I may add a config file or something that lets you set your own order, so that you could rearrange things how you want and have whichever apps you want on the first screen, first page. But that's probably down the road a bit. We are stuck without the mouse again. It initialized. It's there, like it drew. So like it initialized. It found it. But the actual moving it doesn't work. And then it will be gone. It won't find it this time. And it won't find it again until I reset. My hypothesis, yeah. So this time it didn't. If I try and move it, nothing happens. I could reset again still, and it will be the same. But if I reset with the button, then it will find it again. So I think this build, while it hasn't done the lockup thing, it does still have some USB trouble, because with the prior build, we were more reliably having the mouse each time we came back from a reset. Now we seem to get stuck in a state where the mouse is broken until I hard reset with the button, and then it works like maybe once or twice or whatever, and then gets back to broken. But I know there's already ongoing work in USB land. There might even be some stuff I need to test. I'm not sure if it got merged, so that's why I don't know the exact state of the build I have now that I downloaded it from S3. But I think that's going to do it for today. So thank you to everyone for hanging out. I hope you all have a great rest of your Saturday and a great weekend and all of that. I will be back at the usual time next week for Deep Dive on Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. 1 hour stream for Deep Dive, and then I should be back next week as well on Saturday for my stream on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Central. I will see you then. Take it easy.